arigato, Mr. Romano.
Domo arigato, Geek to me radio, da 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 da. Domo arigato, Geek to me radio, da 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 da.
Welcome, geeks and nerds, girls and boys, to a brand new edition of Geek to Me Radio live on KTRS. We'll be talking with Susan Eisenberg, the definitive voice of Wonder Woman, chatting about her work on Kevin Smith, Masters of the Universe Revelations, voice acting during COVID, and more. Stand by.
We're talking TV, comics and movies, and video games. And if you don't know Star Trek from Star Wars, we'll try to explain. There are 12 doctors for Hogwarts houses, one ring rules them all. To be the greatest Pokemon master, you must catch them all. You must catch them all. Try to catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all.
And for those of you streaming us online right now, I know Joey V is back with me. He's got this all streaming, I believe, on Facebook and possibly YouTube. So hello to everyone streaming the show live. I'm not sure you want to see me, but here's my face anyway. For those of you who are listening on the radio, KTRS.com, huge thanks to Matt Dorsey for giving me the time on Sunday nights here, right after Outdoors Dan and Dan Brothers. Thanks to Josh Gilbert for being my champion here and helping me get on the air. Very excited to be back where I started on KTRS, the Big 550. This is very exciting. We've got my very favorite guest, and she knows she's my favorite because I tell her all the time. She's the de facto co-host. She is the Tom Hanks of Geek to Me Radio because she has been on the show that many times. Susan Eisenberg. Susan, how are you?
I'm so well, and I'm so excited for you and thrilled for you. And I'm just so happy that you have a show and that you're back on the air, and I'm giddy.
As am I. It's nice that we were able to do it online because for those of you who are listening who don't know, maybe this is your first time finding the show. I was on a different radio station for a while where we started back in August of 2016. Susan was one of my very first guests. I think within the first 8 episodes, you came on the show. We talked about Justice League because it's one of my very favorite shows, and you were wonderful, and you supported me from the beginning. And like I said, I think we've had you on at least 8 or 9 times since then. We've met in person at Denver Comic-Con, and yes, it's been a thrill.
And I like when you called me the co-host. That feels very cool to me. I feel like I should get the jacket, like on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, the Five Timers Club. That's right.
Yeah.
if I can get a jacket made, that's what we'll do.
Okay, I'm in. I'll wear it. I'm on the radio, but still, you have to trust me that I'll be wearing it.
I will appreciate that. We'll have to stream you live next time too, so you can be like on the split screen, so we look like we're on.
Oh my
CNN.
gosh! Okay, I'll do it.
So we've got a lot to cover, and just 1 hour is going to fly by. But we got our first caller already. David wanted to call in and say hi to Susan and ask you a question. David, you're on with Susan Eisenberg.
Well, hello there, Susan. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you, David?
I'm fine, thank you. I'll be brief. My question's a little bit complicated, but with the uniqueness of a character like Diana, who you have definitively voiced, I wanted to hear your thoughts on, does every hero need someone to pass the baton to? Because Diana is written as a character in story to basically be immortal. So, we've got Yara Flor, we've got Dana Troy, we've got Cassie, we've got Nubia. But is Diana the type of character, do you think, that would need like a sidekick or maybe someone to mentor? Really want to hear what you think about that.
Okay, so just to be clear, I assume you're talking about Diana and not the voice actor or the actor portraying Diana. And I because you said it in your introduction, she's ageless. So I don't think she needs anyone by her side. I think she's a standalone character, certainly one of the three in the Trinity. But I do love the idea of her being a mentor, and I've certainly done many shows and movies where she was a mentor to younger women. And that's just another aspect of her character to play, and it just gives her something else to do in terms of defining who she is. So I loved that, but I don't think she needs it, and I do think she's ageless. So I don't think there's there's no piece of me that thinks, wow, TikTok, maybe it's time to add somebody else to it, or maybe it's time to pass the baton. No, I don't feel that way.
Okay, now, just to be clear, I didn't mean you. Don't.
No, I know. No, I know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We love you. You are Wonder Woman forever. We love you. So don't.
Absolutely.
No, that's not what I meant. But yeah.
No, thank you.
She's one of the few where, so if I understand your answer, she's both. She's both standalone, and she's great at teaching young Amazons coming up how to do what they do.
Absolutely.
And not even just young Amazons, because we saw in Justice League versus the Fatal Five, you were a bit of a mentor to Jessica Cruz's Green Lantern.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's one of the projects I was referring to. Also, Justice League Doom, or Superman, Batman, Apocalypse. I don't remember now, with Supergirl. And so, I mean, like that aspect of her is very much there. And I think it's a beautiful aspect to her character, and also like Maid of Honor and Justice League. With Princess Audrey, and that relationship was so sweet. But again, I don't think it's a necessity. I just think it's a bonus.
That's really well said. Really well said. Not a necessity, but a bonus. Well, thank you so much for answering that. I really, really wanted to hear your thoughts on that. But
my pleasure.
I really like that Diana.
Thank you for calling. Thank you for calling. I love it.
Problem.
Absolutely. Thanks, David. It's always great to hear from you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye. Have a good night.
You too.
And if you'd like to call in as well, we can take your calls. The call-in line is 314-931-5877, or I've got a text bubble up here. If you want to text us, just text us your name so we know who you are, and a question if you have for Susan. And the text is 84126. That'll come up on my screen here, and we'll just read your question out loud on the air. He brought up the point of...
How much fun is that to have the questions? I love that.
I know. That's one of the things I really missed. Honestly, that's one of the biggest things I missed doing this online only, is I like getting those calls from the listeners.
Yeah, well, it just feels like it feels so expansive. Like we're not, I mean, as much as I love you, and I do love you, there's something really terrific about having the conversation be wider, and so that other people are included. And, that's what the live call-ins do. They give you that, which is fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. And again, feel free to call in or text if you're a little shy. I know one of our very favorites, and I think one of your biggest fans possibly, Susan, is at Irish Patty1 on Instagram. Mm-hmm. She did message me earlier, and she said, I wanted to talk to Susan, but I'm just not feeling well, so I'm going to bed early, but tell her I said hello.
Oh, that's so sweet. No, she's not only a fan of mine, she's a fan of Wonder Woman's, and she's just she's so terrific and loyal, and she's like one of my favorite people out there in social media.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know she's.
I'll check in with her tomorrow. I'll check in with her tomorrow and thank her for sending a message through you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know it was funny because we just talked about, David just asked about Wonder Woman. I saw a poll up there, and they said, hey, if you were to get a new Arkham-style video game from Rocksteady featuring a different DC character, who would you pick? And the last time I looked, Wonder Woman was pulling ahead of Green Lantern, Aquaman, and Flash.
I'm not surprised. I mean, somebody tweeted out the other day about how much they would love an animated series and a video game, and I think 2,000 people really quickly liked the tweet. So I think that's the growing consensus. I think Gal has had so much to do with that because the popularity of the live action films.
Yeah.
And, Patty and what they've done together as a team and bringing Wonder Woman into the light. But I think there's a huge audience out there for her that have been waiting. I mean, there haven't been a lot of projects for her, so she has a lot to catch up on. Superman and Batman, as wonderful as they are. I mean, they've had a lot of at bats, and she's been on deck for, if I can use my sports metaphors, she's been on deck for a really long time, and she's overdue. So I hope that that there is more content out there beyond comics and beyond movies, and that we have an animated series and we have a video game.
Absolutely. And I just want to give a quick shout out on we're streaming this live, and I want to say hi to Jackie Hawkins, Emily Stowe, and Ryan Cooper are watching on this, and also Christopher Strong. And thank you very much for watching the live stream, guys. We appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying it so far. You've got, the last time you and I talked off air and kind of in between the last time we had you on the podcast, you have stayed busy, and that's great. Voice acting has been something that's carried through COVID, because I think, like you said, you're basically doing your auditions and everything else and your roles from the closet, which is very different. And it's got to be great that you're still working, but obviously it's changed quite a bit. If you could talk a little bit about how COVID has changed the landscape of voice acting.
Well, I think the biggest change is that I've become like an engineer in addition to being a voice actor, because when COVID hit, after, initially we were just not going back into the studios to record or to your agent's office to audition, which is how I was set up before. And so there was no choice but to set up my own system, my own studio here at home. And I did, and it was a huge learning curve. There was a lot of missing pieces, of moving pieces that I had to put together. I had to figure out how to do things on a technical level. So it was challenging, but in a cool way, because it gave me another skill set that I had never had. Because, for auditions, I would go to my agent's office, I would audition, and then I'd leave. And for jobs, you go in, you record, and then you walk out the door, and it's up to them to edit it. It's up to them to, to keep it and send it off to the client. But now I'm doing that. So even when I work, they want my work to be backed up on my machine. So it was like really stressful in the beginning, because not only are you recording and worrying about your character and your performance and all this, but like you're doing the backup recording that they're going on, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I hope I pressed play record. I hope I pressed the button. And so it's, and trying to get the right levels and learning what the gain is and learning, there was just a lot that I didn't know about, because I hadn't had to know about it. I didn't know about, now I know so much more about preamps and all my microphone stuff. And I'm thrilled that I know it, but it has made my job larger, because you're not just showing up doing that aspect of it. It's just, there's more to do now. But it's a skill set, like I said, that I have that I didn't have before. And it's allowed me the opportunity to keep going. Where so many people's work has been affected by this, voiceover really, we hardly skipped a beat with it. And I can't believe I've recorded video games and commercials and narration and animated series from my own studio. If you had told me a year ago that I'd be doing that, I'd say you were nutty. But here we are. So I think, very long-winded answer. I apologize, but
no, not at all.
I feel very lucky that I was able to get the right equipment. I was able to get good sound and good acoustics. And except if there's a little construction going on in my neighborhood, I'm good to go. Well,
I know when I saw you on Michael Rosenbaum's podcast, he had you and George and Maria and Carl all on there. And simultaneously almost, Maria's lawn leaf blower went off in their background, and George's at the same time.
Yeah, no, listen, that's a drag. And I know George is set up in a really big way because he does audiobooks, so I'm sure he's got a very fancy studio. But no, the leaf blowers, they're the bane of my existence without recording. But yeah, you have to, what's so cool and what's so wonderful is that these studios, the client, they're so understanding because they know
I would hope
what
so.
Adjustments have been made. They're all home too. So everyone's been super cool. I never thought that I would be talking to Kevin Smith in my closet, but
Right.
there you go. There you go.
I don't usually. I'm hesitant to even say this because I don't like calling people out. But I've seen your Instagram post, and I'm going to show a picture right now to those who are streaming this. You've got this assistant, and I don't think Oliver does much of anything for you at all. He needs to get on the engineering side of this and work the boards for you.
Totally. And the thing is, usually when he's in there with me, he's sleeping. It's like, dude, press a button, do something. And then it's really funny because when I'm recording and he's sleeping in the booth with me, he'll start to snore.
Dog snoring.
So, oh my God, it's so adorable. And yet, I have to pause and just wait for him to be quiet again. But listen, I mean, Oliver hasn't left my side since COVID started. And I don't know how he's going to react to when I go back into the world again.
Right. Yeah, dogs are going to be like, hey, hold on, what's going on? My dog does the same thing. I don't usually leave the house. I maybe go out to the office once a week. But when I come in here on Sundays, Laura will tell me he will pout. He'll sit in the bed and he'll just pout with his little chin in his head for an hour after I leave the house.
Oh, my gosh, totally. No, and kitties, too. I mean, I think they're going to be devastated when people have to go back to... And frankly, do we even have to go back to offices now that we've all learned how to work at home?
That's the dream, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
We have another question from one of our streaming people. Emily Stowe has a question for you. Is there an element of Wonder Woman to which you feel a personal connection?
Yes. Emily, that's a really good question. Haven't been asked it before, so thank you. I'd say the outsider aspect of Wonder Woman. I think most people that I've talked to at one point in their lives felt like an outsider, whether it was when they were very, very young or when they moved to a new city or when they started a new job or a new school. And so I certainly could relate to that. And when I started the Justice League, I was in a room with really talented actors who had really big resumes, and they had all done on-camera things, on-camera projects, and it was very intimidating. So I felt a little like a fish out of water, and I think that translated to my performance. And it worked because Diana had left Themyscira, and she was joining the League, and she was a fish out of water, and she was, I will never say she was scared because that's not Diana, but it was definitely some growing pains there for leaving her mother and leaving everything she knew behind. So that aspect of her, I absolutely relate to.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love it when people get asked questions they've not been asked before. That's always
it's
exciting.
exciting.
So kudos, Emily, for that question. We're going to take our first commercial break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk more with Susan Eisenberg. We'll see if we can dig into Masters of the Universe Revelations, directed by Kevin Smith, coming to Netflix, in which you play the Sorceress. We'll talk, and we'll take more of your calls. I apologize. There's a screen in my way. I can't see the phone bank. I'm trying to keep an eye out. So if you called in and I didn't answer your call, feel free to call back 314-931-5877, or you can text a question to 84126, or you can put it in the stream. Joey passed me along that question from Emily, so thank you, Joey, for manning all the accoutrement over on that. And we're going to take a commercial break, come right back, and chat more with Susan Eisenberg, so please stand by.
Hi, this is Alan Oppenheimer, the voice of Skeletor, and you're listening to Geek to Me.
No better intro to talk about Masters of the Universe than the voice of Skeletor, Alan Oppenheimer, who I understand, if I'm not mistaken, he's still in. I don't think he's doing the voice of Skeletor this time around, but he's still in the production. I know COVID's going on. Did you get a chance to meet him, Susan?
I did. And because we had sessions before COVID hit, and I did meet him. And I've met him before because he and I have the same booking agent, Celebworks, for Comic-Cons. And, I just adore him. And, it was funny. I was watching Private Benjamin the other night, and he's in it. He plays the rabbi who marries them. And it was just like, oh my God, I just love him. And he's so good, and he is in the show. And I met him, I saw him at the recording session, and, it's just, he's just one of a kind. He's such a special actor and a special man, and he's just a very kind person. So, yeah, I love that he's in the show, but that's so Kevin, right? Like, of course Kevin's going to...
keep that touchstone in there.
Yes, it's like an homage. And so, yeah, I mean, that's so Kevin. He's so history-oriented and appreciates that.
And it's got to be, like I said, you've got a great cast, and you've got even some of your Justice League alum. I know Phil is doing it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But it's doing this project. I know we talked in the past that you weren't terribly familiar with Wonder Woman when you took on the role of Diana in Justice League. How familiar were you with He-Man, and in particular the character you're voicing, the Sorceress, when you got the part?
Not familiar at all. I was way more familiar with Wonder Woman because I'd grown up with Linda Carter.
Oh, yeah.
On the show. So at least I was familiar with Wonder Woman. And, of course, she's so iconic. And I knew she was part of the Trinity and all of that. But no, Sorceress, no idea. And I spent a lot of time on YouTube looking at old shows and old iterations of her. And, there's Christina Pickles. I don't know if you know who she is.
I know that name.
She was on St. Elsewhere, and I'm sure she's still working in voiceover. When I started, she was like the queen of voiceover. I mean, everyone emulated her and wanted to have a career like hers because she did on camera, she did voiceover. She's brilliant, and she had done Sorceress, but in a very kind of like angelic and airy kind of way, and it was fabulous. And so when I went into the session, my first session, I'm like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to create that for the character. And I got very different direction from Kevin, and he had a very clear idea of how he wanted me to sound. And there it is. I mean, that's the thing. You just stay open and you hear what the director wants, and there you go.
And we talked about, obviously, we've had Andrea Romano on the show before. Actually, you introduced me to her at Denver Comic-Con. We had you and George and Andrea at the same time on the show when we broadcast live from there. And you've worked with her, and everyone has said what a doll she is, how great she is to work with. I've heard it from so many people. How was it? How does Kevin, because Kevin's a really good director. I've heard a lot of people say that too. How does he differ in his style from Andrea?
I think he's in it with you in a way that is like, he'll start applauding. He's right there with you. I mean, if you move him in the scene that you're doing, he's so effusive. I mean, Andrea's in a room with, we were all in there together for Justice League. So there's a room full of 15 people, and she's a huge supporter of you. But, she's not going to make a big fuss over me in the midst of everything, whereas Kevin will. And I just think he just loves actors so much, and wants you to do so well. Not that Andrea doesn't, but it feels even more personal with Kevin. And
he's
more
a fan. I mean, he basically handpicked you for this, if I remember the story correctly.
Oh, he's a fan of mine. Oh, that's sweet. I think I told you that I went up to him to introduce myself, and he said, I know who you are. And that just, made me, so happy, and it was very sweet. And I think that, my introducing myself to him at a Comic-Con, I think that's what helped get me the job. And so all you kids listening out there, if you see somebody you respect and appreciate, go over and say something to them, because I was kind of on the fence. I didn't know if I should bother him. He's such a big star, but he couldn't have been more gracious and lovely. And then he hired me. So, I think I made the right move.
I'd say so. It's all about the networking.
Yes, it is. Truly. I mean, I really, really know that to be true. I think obviously you have to have the talent. Once you're given the opportunity, you have to come through. But my God, I mean, knowing people and forming those relationships and being easy to work with, I think is really, really important. No one wants to hire, a jerk. These sessions.
This station hired me, so that's not true.
Okay, well, that's not true because you're not a jerk. You're lovely. But, you're working with people and you want to get along and you want people to be a team player. And that's so important. Yeah, I mean, I think I got very lucky with that I introduced myself, and then a couple of months later, I got the call that, he wanted me to be part of his show. It's been extraordinary. It really has.
And had they given a premiere date? I know somebody, I posted that I was going to have you on the show in the World of Kevin Smith Facebook page, and a gentleman there asked, do we have a premiere date yet for that? Have you heard anything?
I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't. And I would, gladly share it. And I'm sure that once we do, we'll all be talking about it. But I have not. But, the actor isn't always the first to know either.
Right.
So there may be one, but I haven't been told. So as soon as I know, James, you're going to know.
I appreciate it. We'll have you back on for the 11th time maybe and talk about it.
Good one.
And we've got another on the message stream. The text line came in. It's Mikey Flash, who on Twitter is at, I believe it's at Mike Schmidt 09. I think is his Twitter handle, if I got that right. But he wanted to say hi to Susan, big fan, and he wants to know, what is your favorite episode of Justice League or Justice League Unlimited?
I know him because he's been following me for a while, and he's always kind and
super nice
sweet.
guy.
Super nice guy. So thank you for not calling in, but reaching out. It's so hard to say favorite because there are favorites, and I think this little piggy is to me one of the all-time best episodes of the show. It has that wonderful scene with Kevin singing, "Am I Blue?" and then I just love it. I just love it. And the scene on the rooftop with talking to Kevin about dating.
Yeah.
So that's like one of my favorites. The Once and Future Thing. I love, like I referred to it before with Audrey, Maid of Honor.
Yes, that's a great one.
The thing about the show is that it was extraordinary. I mean, we had extraordinary writers and directors. So you have people like Dwayne McDuffie, and you have people like Dan Reba. You have people like Stan Berkowitz. I mean, all these people were brilliant, and they knew these characters so intimately, and they brought them to life alongside the voiceover people, the actors, because without that script, it's not going to fly like it did, and it's not going to be magical like it was. So I have so many favorites. I mean, we've always done Starcrossed when we've been at cons together, and that's a brilliant script. I mean, it's really hard to say there's one, but I loved the episodes where we were all together too, and that we got to be the League, and we got to have some humor. Whether it was with Flash or me teasing Batman or. I loved all the interplay with the characters, and that you got to sense a different side of them rather than just superheroes.
Yeah.
That was always my favorite thing to play.
Very cool. And that, Mike, I hope that answers your question. I want to make sure I mention that this show would not be possible without our premier sponsor, the City of St. Charles, the Greater St. Charles Convention and Visitors Bureau. If you are a fan of my show and you've heard the show before, we were on the air here at KTRS, you know the website that I always point you to. It's discoverstcharles.com. That's discoverstcharles.com. As we always say, it's an historically good time. If you're, I know some restrictions are starting to ease up. Hopefully there is a light at the end of this COVID tunnel with vaccinations coming out. If you're maybe planning a trip down the road, thinking about someplace to go, check out the website, discoverstcharles.com. There's all sorts of things to see and do. There's, if you want to stay at a little bed and breakfast, or you want to stay at a world-class hotel with fancy accommodations, there's something for everyone in between there. Lots of places to see, lots of things to do, lots of great food to be had. With spring right around the corner, there'll be people bike riding up and down the Katy Trail and playing with their dogs in Frontier Park and checking out Kilwin's right there in the corner of First Capital in Maine to get some ice cream and some fudge. Just check out the website. If you're from out of town and haven't been before, you can plan your trip right there, get more information. If you're in the greater St. Louis area and you may have cruised by, stop in and check it out. These local small businesses can really use your help, and a lot of them are doing curbside pickup for food and for shopping items. So you can get all the information right from the website, discoverstcharles.com. That's Discover St. Charles for an historically good time. We're very, very proud to have them as our original sponsor for the past 4.5 years now and carrying us forward here now on the Big 550 KTRS. We're going to take another commercial break. We'll come right back and talk more with Susan Eisenberg after this, so please stand by.
Hey, this is Phil Lamar.
Hermes Conrad.
The samurai known as Jack. And you're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
We're back. Phil Lamar bringing us back that time. Susan's Justice League cohort, Green Lantern John Stewart. And Susan, we've got another call. Someone else called in. We've got Wendy on the line. Wendy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks so much for calling in. Susan, you know Wendy.
Wendy?
Surprise.
Our Wendy? My Wendy?
You're Wendy.
Oh, my God. I'm giddy. That's so exciting. Hi, Wen.
Hi. I couldn't resist. I saw you talking about it, and I was excited to see you were talking to James and thought I would call in with a question.
Okay. I'm like, okay, wait. Let me get ready. Okay. What's your question?
It's a pretty straightforward one, but it's mostly, I wanted to know, since we've been locked out of everything fan-related, and the Justice League fans are honestly some of the best that there are, what do you miss most about engaging with them at the convention?
The conversation. The conversation is the best. And I love hearing about people's experiences with the show, because the thing I get told the most by fans is that we were a part of their childhood. And there's nothing quite as touching as hearing that from somebody. And if you were part of someone's childhood and made their childhood positive in any way, that's so touching to me. So I miss the conversations. I miss hearing people's stories about how they would run home from school to watch the Justice League, or how it helped them through maybe a dark time, or how they're now showing their kids. They're sitting with their kids and showing them the whole series on DVD, or it's streaming on HBO Max. So I just miss that, just the general interaction. I mean, there's some of that on social media, but there's just nothing like it in person. And being able to hug somebody for whom Wonder Woman means a lot. And, I do miss that. And hopefully, 2022, or maybe the end of 2021, some of that will come back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hope so. And
Me too.
Me three.
I'm looking for one of those hugs, so I'm definitely hoping that we're going to see it soon enough.
I hope so, and I feel good about it. So, at least the vaccine's here. We just have to wait our turn.
Exactly. Exactly.
Trying to be patient, which is not one of my virtues, and I'm really working my patience. I'm really working it, because I know that, obviously there are many groups that need to come before me, which I totally understand and support. But I just can't wait for it to be my turn, so I can be one of those people saying, "Woohoo!"
Same, so much same.
Right. Well, Gwen, I love hearing your voice. This is so sweet.
I know. I was so excited when she called. That was great of her to call in.
I did an interview. With Wendy a while ago, and I just, she's just one of the best in the business. Her panels at the Comic-Cons are some of my favorite panels that I've ever done, because she knows how to run a panel. She is a brilliant moderator. Brilliant. So anyone out there who wants, who gets asked to do something by Wendy, you just say yes, because she's brilliant at her job.
I appreciate that very, very much, and I do miss you. And it was so good to talk to both of you. And I'm glad. I was excited to get a surprise in. It was fun.
Thank you. I love it. You should see my face right now. I hope you can hear my smile.
I can hear it.
I love it. Thank you. And just, just stay healthy and stay well, and hopefully we'll see each other soon.
Definitely. Well, I'll talk to you both soon, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Thanks,
Thank
Wendy.
you,
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
That's always nice when you get someone calling in. You got so many fans.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you know what's so great about Wendy? There are so many great things about her, but our relationship is that there's a mutual fan club there, because you know her. She is as good as it gets at what she does. And, I just adore her. I adore her. She's a very brilliant woman. So, that was such a treat. Thank you.
We've opened the floodgates now because we have another caller. Morgan wanted to call in, say hello to Susan, and she might have a question. Morgan, you're on with Susan Eisenberg.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, my God. I love you so much. I really do. You're fantastic.
Thank you.
I have a question. Have you been watching Justice League on HBO Max?
I have. I couldn't resist. It's so fun to revisit the episodes. I mean, one of the first things I did when it was re-airing, and I don't remember when it re-aired, where it did, on like maybe Cartoon Network and I would live tweet it. It was like one of the first things I ever did on Twitter, which was like 7 years ago when I first joined. And I just got such a kick out of watching the episodes with people. So the live tweet, and like maybe 6 people were going along for the ride. I was really new to Twitter. And I just loved it, though, because it became a thing. And it's one thing for me to watch the episodes. It's another thing to watch it with the fans of the show. And so, yeah, I have been watching because I've missed, I have the DVDs, of course. But there's something so cool about it being on, like, it's just there it is. It's streaming. I love that.
So, Morgan, do you have a favorite episode?
Oh, This Little Piggy, of course.
Yeah.
Big fan Wonder Bat.
Yep. Yeah, Wonder Bat. # Wonder Bat.
Morgan, thanks very much for calling in. We appreciate it.
Oh, my God. Thank you.
Have a great night.
Thank you for calling.
And we've got watching live Chris Peary, Vanessa Roman, Jason Castrop, and Dan Young. They all say hello to Susan Eisenberg.
Wow. That's so exciting. I love this.
This is nice. I've not done this before where I'm doing the streaming line because, like I've always said, I have a face for radio, so nobody really wants to see me. But
so what's it like? Because that's so cool. So like you're able to see their comments.
Joey is across the board, and he's got all the stuff working. He just passes me over a note saying, like, Emily had a question, or these people are now tuned in and watching and saying hi. So the only thing I can see, I've got the streaming thing from the station when they do when they upload a text to the station, like I could see Mikey texting in.
Right.
I saw a couple other calls coming in. I'm sorry if I missed your call because I'm trying to shuffle a couple things. Feel free to give us a call back. We still got a couple minutes left. I am going to take one more commercial break before we get out of here, so let me do that now. We'll come right back and talk more with Susan Eisenberg. Please stand by.
Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith, Silent Bob, and you're listening to Geek to Me Radio, man. This is the only radio show that the guy does Batman Beyond listens to for his geek news.
Kevin Smith, Susan Eisenberg's biggest fan besides me and Wendy, obviously. He had that movie out that we did for his Jay and Silent Bob reboot. And Legion M, who I'm part of, they had a big thing here in St. Louis, and a lot of people came out to that. I hosted the Legion M meetup here because I'm a part of that. And, of course, we hosted it at a Marcus Theaters location. So if you're like me, if you're a fan of the movies and you want to go out and see those movies in the theater, we haven't had that for a while. But some of them ramp back up. Marcus Theaters, go to the website, marcustheaters.com. You'll see Marcus Theaters and Movie Tavern. You'll see what I see, that they've opened up in a very safe, very socially distant way. You can go to the website, get your tickets there, find the movie tavern or Marcus Theater closest to you. Download the app on your smartphone. That's what I did. You can order your concessions and pick your movie, get your tickets all through the app, so it's there waiting for you. It's a more contactless experience. They've gone above and beyond for their cleaning measures, and they've even got those little foot things on the door, so you don't have to touch the door handle. Limited capacity in the theaters. You wear your masks unless you're sitting in your seat drinking your soda, obviously, but it is safe to go back to the movies. I've seen Tenet on Labor Day weekend. We saw The New Mutants. It's just, no matter what your sound system and setup is like at home, it's never the same to me, that experience of going to the movie, because I remember seeing Avengers Endgame opening night, and the crowd, it's a full house, the crowd is screaming when Cap gets the hammer. Spoilers if you haven't seen this movie, I apologize. But there's nothing like that. That can't be recreated in a home setting. And movie theaters, to me, it's almost like a slightly religious experience. I love movie theaters. So support these places. Go to the website, marcustheaters.com, find out more about how safe it is, download the app for your phone, and we appreciate them being the official movie sponsor of Geek to Me Radio. Speaking of another movie I saw at Marcus Theaters, Wonder Woman. We saw that, and Wonder Woman, we're talking to her, but you were actually there in D.C. when they were filming part of that, because Patty Jenkins was like, "Hey, Susan, it's Patty. Come out to the set. We'd love to have you."
Yeah, okay. That's not at all how it happened, but that was sweet. That's a really good impression of her.
Thank you.
No, so I was in Virginia actually doing a Comic-Con, and I knew that they were in Washington, and I'd met Patty. I was lucky enough to have met her at the first Wonder Woman premiere, and she just couldn't have been, lovelier and more gracious. And so I just thought, again, kids, I just thought I would reach out to her and say, I'm here in Virginia. I would love to come to the set. And I could not believe it when I got a response that said, please come. That would be lovely. And, she had people meet me at the entrance to where they were shooting. It was extraordinary because I went to college in Washington, D.C. I hadn't been back in it forever. Being in Washington, seeing all those streets closed off for the shooting of the film, and then walking onto the set, and there's Gal in full costume and full fabulousness, and and there's Patty, and there she is directing this this massive scene on the street where all these cars have to crash, and Gal is flying and through the air, and it was. I can't even tell you what a surreal experience it was to be on the set while they were doing that. And the worst thing was I couldn't talk about it forever because I had to wait for the movie to come out. And I had pictures on the set. It was like, okay, you have to sit on that because you can't blow it. But it was just dreamy to watch Gal and watch Patty. And, Chris Pine, unfortunately, wasn't there that day. That was the only bummer. But everything.
You had Patrick Duffy as your Steve Trevor, though. I mean, come on.
I know. Hello. And he was. We were in the studio together when we recorded, and I just got to look across to the room at Mr. Patrick Duffy playing my love interest. And don't think I didn't feel like I was on an episode of Dallas. It was pretty, wild and fun. Listen, I'm a lucky woman.
I'd say. I mean, it's all the people you have been interacting with, and now you've got those. The good thing is about having to sit on those Wonder Woman set photos is now you've got Throwback Thursday material on Twitter and Instagram forever. I mean, you can just put those up. That's great.
Yeah, it was pretty. I mean, it was a pinch me moment, being on that set and having the good fortune to watch that scene, which is quite iconic. So yeah, I'm very, very, very lucky that I got to see Patty at work because I think she's a genius. And, Gal is, she's transcendent in the role. She's just, meeting her, it's like she really is, she's very tall. And so you really are looking at an Amazon, and she's just, she's really magnificent in person. I've met her a couple of times now, and she really is, she embodies all those, traits and qualities. It's did they get that right in the casting? Wowza.
And we've only got about 3 minutes left. As I told you it would, this hour has flown by. What else are you? I know you're working on some projects you can't talk about yet, but is there anything you want to talk about or anything you can say?
I wish I could talk to you about it because you're the guy I talk to about it, but I can't talk to you about it because, we sign those NDAs and we can't talk about it.
Lawyers.
I know, right? Rude. But I do have some really exciting things coming up that I will be very excited to talk to you about when I can talk to you about it. Wink, wink. But there's some really fun stuff coming up and pretty recognizable things. So I'm delighted.
Very good. All brought to you from Susan's closet.
Hey, the acoustics are excellent.
I have no doubt. I mean, that's you got to make do with what you can. So you're in between like all your wardrobe stuff. The clothes have to give you some extra insulation there as far as soundproofing.
Oh, absolutely. Brilliant. I mean, it's really, I'm very lucky.
And it's always fun to talk to you. And like I said, I sincerely appreciate you doing this on a Sunday night. And I reached out to you and I wanted you as my first guest on the new radio station because you've always been very supportive of me and of the show. And you've been so gracious and you've helped me get guests. And I know we're talking to one now who I don't want to announce yet, who we're going to hopefully have on soon. But it's always great to talk to you. Obviously, between the texts and the streaming and the phone calls, people love hearing from you. So we need to make this like a once every couple of months thing.
I thought it was.
It nearly is, yes. But no, it's always so great. And tell people, if maybe for those of you who are finding you for the first time, because we're on this brand new station here at KTRS, we've not been on the air before, where can people find you if they want to keep up with you on social media and get your website information and your upcoming projects?
Oh, yeah. So on social media, I'm Susan Eisenberg 1, the number 1. And my website is SusanEisenbergVoice.com. So, yes, please. I mean, it's exciting to meet new people. So come say hello on social media until we can meet in person.
And follow her on Instagram because you get all those cute pics of Oliver, too.
I know. When I go to Comic-Con, people ask about him. I love it.
I'll bet. He's such a cutie. How old is he?
He's 6.5.
Oh, still just a little puppy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Eternally.
Right. That's good. No, I'd love our dogs to meet at some point, but my Grimlock does not like other dogs, so that might not be the best idea.
Okay, well, we're just going to have to do with pictures for now.
We will.
Can I just say welcome back, James?
Thank
you. To
the
radio and to the because it's really, you're so good at what you do, and I'm so happy for you.
And thank you. I've got that on recording. I've got Susan Eisenberg telling me I'm good at what I do. So this will be going up on the online tomorrow, folks. I want to get it out there for everyone to know. I do want to talk about, too, we've got a very exciting announcement. My brand new website, geektomeradio.com, has just launched. Huge thanks to Jeff Shelton for all the design work on literally revamping this from the ground up. Thanks to Gary Capps for all the under-the-hood stuff, making it run properly and getting everything migrated over to replace my existing website. So Jeff and Gary both have been brilliant. Joey V has been instrumental in keeping the show on the air. Susan, I know you've talked to Joey before when we were at the other station, and this show would not literally be going on still at this point if it was not for everything that this man did. So thanks to Joey V, and make sure you check out the new website, geektomeradio.com. Susan, you can check it out too.
I'm doing it right now as we speak.
Perfect. Okay, that's why there was a bit of, I was going to make sure I still had you. But we're going to wrap up the show, folks.
I'm still here.
No, that's good. No, I appreciate it. And like I said, follow Susan, and we will do this again next week here on the Big 550 KTRS. So until then, my friends.
It's not in the way you watch iZombie. It's not in the way you watch The Flash. It's not in the way you love Scotty Young Art. It's not in the way you play Mario Kart. It's not in the way you look when you make Game of Thrones references. That's our show. This is Geek to Me Radio. That's our show. This is Geek to Me Radio.
Thank you, Eternia. Good night.
Hi,
Hi, this is James Enstall, host of Geek to Me Radio, and in honor of my favorite Themyscirian, I've decided to become an Amazon warrior.
Hera, give me strength.
The next time you want to buy something from Amazon, go to geektomeradio.com first and click on our Amazon affiliate link. Simply shop like you normally would, and when you check out, a small percentage will go towards supporting the show. So remember, the next time you want to search Amazon for the latest Wonder Woman graphic novel or parts for your invisible jet, click through from geektomeradio.com first.
The world was in peril. Would you have me stand by and do nothing?